Hello again and welcome to another tutorial. This time is about a Rolleicord, which has a not precise shutter. I mean, if I set it to 1 second, it's a bit too long. So how about deal with that? Well, I will show you how you take it apart and go into the shutter. And there are some things that we need to do first. I already been taking away the leather. So, but I use a dentist tool with the soft corners. One could use a tool, plastic tool for repairing smartphones and so, or maybe other things. Well, so as I said, I've already loosened it just to make it easier for you to show what's actually going on, but it can be a little worn out, those dry leather. So, and of course the other side here, take away the shutter button here, small pin here, and gently take this away. Can be a little tricky under here. So, but to go inside, it will make it a lot easier by taking off the whole frame here. It's held in place by 4 screws, as you can maybe see there, 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 and there. The front of the shutter is also held in place by 4 screws, one here, there, actually 6, I just forgot, there and there, and there's one hidden there, and the last one is here. Now let's begin with the frame. Because the reason I take off the whole frame first is because of this. I mean, you cannot unscrew it you can use a kind of a tool by holding here and at the same time use another tool, but you will make some not really nice marks on this pin here. So therefore, also so you learn how things is done, all the screws are the same on the frame. So it's really not that hard to go into, just good tools. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Things will fall apart. So now I can lift off the frame, but I have to cup the shutter first. So the pin will be, I mean, you can just gently push it over to the corner by here, and then just lift off the frame. So it can go pass by the shutter button, cox. So then it's free. Nice and easy. And then maybe I should take off the front lens. I will use those rubber cones from japanhobbytool.com. They are really nice tools for working with lenses and cameras because they're very sticky. So I can just use some force to unscrew it. Here it comes off. This is the Xenar Schneider Krishna Xenar 75mm 3.5 aperture. The lenses looks, well, okay for that old camera. Now, to get the front off, I mean the whole block here, I will begin with the screw here, and before I do so, I will just make a scratch here. The curved, I mean the end of this part, I will just make a scratch so I know exactly where the focus or whatever is connected to, and then also make a small scratch here. So I know where this pin has sit. Unscrew it. Using a tweezer will be very handy for this. Oh, come on. So. And then it's off. So now we have almost the front part free, but we have to release the shutter, so, and then take off the 4 screws here that holds the whole lens assembly. So by doing so, and remember, there is a long shim underneath here, which we so it looks like this. It sits underneath here between the focus assembly frame that holds the whole thing in place. In this case, there's also a small washer here in one corner that where the frame sits on. So I will just let it stay. So then we continue with the another screw and then the last one. And those screws are magnetic, so it's pretty good. I mean, the screwdriver is magnetic, so it will make it easier. Now, then there is another long washer here. Also put aside, and then it's possible to just lift out this whole system, but when we put it back again, we have to press the shutter button all the way, all the way over to the right, and it's easier when the shutter is cocked, so it can be far more over. This fork has to go into this pin here. So this is how it actually looks inside. Nothing really special. Just a black box. Now there are one more screw that we need to take off, and then I made me a special tool for this part here. This screw is it's not an ordinary screw, so I made me a filed and grinded tool with two small pins that can go into this special screw. I don't know the name of it, but as you can see, the two pin will go into the two notches here on each side. So it will make it a lot easier just to unscrew it and then take it out. So maybe just for showing it, as you can see, the two the two notches here and there will fit very good in this special made tool. I don't know if you can buy them or Rolleicord maybe have them, but this works very good. So that's the only reason I made this tool. We need another tool, which I still try to develop a little, because this nut, okay, you can use an ordinary screwdriver, but and it of course will make it easier, so we will just do for now. And then the shutter button. Will come off like this. Now we'll just set the shutter to 500 and the aperture to 22, so that I just have some pointer of where things sit. There are 6 screws around the shutter assembly, the lens shutter assembly. There, and in the middle, here and there, and in the bottom, here and there. They're all the same length, so nothing special about that. I just organized the screws so I can find my way back when assembling the lens. And then the bottom part here. So this one can be a little tricky, but it will work. Now the reason I take the front frame off and the whole shutter assembly out, it's just because when lifting up the front here, I can easily get this out over here. If not, well, it will make it a lot easy. I mean, not really easy to do. So then we are in the shutter. So it is. And I set a mark over here because it's aperture 22. So I know when putting things back in again that this has to stay on 1/500. It will see all the way counterclockwise. And my mark here, it's because the aperture pin can go a little further. So I just set it there and set a mark. So it is. The M and X, I just put it to M. It doesn't really matter in this case. So I need to go into the shutter, and this special screw, whatever, lock, I have also made a tool for that. And one of this, I guess they can be used because it can be a little tricky. So I made a little fork out of a ordinary flathead screwdriver bits. And then I just turn it gently 180 degrees, and then it's actually free. There. And then I turn the plate here counterclockwise to unlock the plate. And then it should be, well, it can be a little tricky, but one needs to lift up the, oh, my washer. Will you just stay there? It can be a little tricky to get that out, but by lifting up the exposure ring, it can actually come loose. So this is how it looks. Now, now we are actually in the shutter and can see how things could work. I could set it to something, let's say something there, a slow speed, then cut the shutter, and then so I take off the exposure ring, then it comes off here, and this is actually what we are going in to deal with. The slow speed gear or escapement, whatever people call it, is over here. And we'll just see how we can take it out by do some unscrewing. The one very special screw or pin or whatever it is the one here. It's a kind of a screw, but you need a special tool. And for that I will just try this just in one of my tools. And maybe it's handy for that, maybe not. I have to make another tool, but hadn't have the time. But I would guess that it could be, it's very tight. Oh, it's come on. It comes off. So it's good. So now the escapement is some kind of little loose. Yeah. But it's also held in place by another screw here in this end. When I was in the shuttle before, this was very, very tight. So I'm not sure if I can, maybe if, yeah, I would guess if I use some nail polish remover, I have somewhere, yeah, and a cotton bud. Maybe they have used some thread lock, or maybe it's just rusty, I don't know. But let's see if it's possible to loosen it. So, and then just add a little to maybe free up the screw. It evaporates very quickly, so there's not much time for such a work. Yeah, it comes loose. There are two springs, the main spring actually, which sits here. It's very tight, so I don't know if I can, if I loosen the screw, can I take out the escapement, or so I don't know exactly. Oh, I need to change battery in my camera. Okay, we continue. New battery and new card. So, but I will lift out the ring here that actually goes to the mainspring, and unhook the mainspring. Maybe I should zoom in a little. So here we are. So by taking this arm here, it's not that easy. There's a small pin here that will grip into the spring here. So let's see if I can get the mainspring out. I mean, hopefully. Yeah, here we are. It looks like somebody else has tinkering with this spring, because it looks different in this end. So, well. There's a small hairspring here. It's, I also need to take it out. Guess so. Yeah. And there's another spring here that I also need to take out. I actually don't know how they, when they put things in, how they deal with those springs. But a good tweezer would, I think it would be very handy. Maybe it's possible just to unscrew this. Or maybe the tension in the spring is too much. Yeah, you see, there's a lot of tension in the spring. Well, yeah. Let's see if I have another tool that will make it easier when putting. This is another dentist tool, and it could actually be useful when putting in the mainspring again. Maybe or maybe not. Yeah, here it comes off. I mean, almost. What if I'm not quite sure, but if this pin comes off, maybe it's possible. So how about that? Will it be? No. Okay. What does this spring actually doing? Okay, so we go further into the lens just because I need to do that. So, and no, it will not. Well, I just think I will put this in again. There must be another reason to, possibility to do this. It will be there, and maybe I can use this lid. Oh, out of frame. And it will go there, they will push on this. Yeah, it must be something like that. So I guess the screw can be put on later. Must be so. Something like that. It's still possible to move it. And this one has to sit somewhere here. Mm-hmm. So it has to hook in. Okay, let's just get it over here. So, and my tool. Has to hook in there. Oh, but you might stay there. So there, and then the spring is just gone here. No, that bloody screw. Not easy. Hey. Sometimes it's really not easy. Okay, now I think I get it. So one have to press down here that this okay. And this goes to here. Oh gosh. So I think it's correct. Well, here we are. Okay. Taking out the escapement would be a little challenge. So I really have to investigate more in this. Shut up, but it's a shame it's not possible to just unhook it. Well, I could. That's the easy way of doing this. And I will just show that first. That I use some lighter fluid, I put a needle on. I'm doing so. Because of the shape of this one, I can actually, what do you say, put a few drops in the escapement by doing it upside down, like this. It's not very much, but it will do what the drops should do. I know it's not the correct way of doing it, but for now. And then give it some gently movement. So things, the lighter fluid will not go into the shutter blades or aperture blades. So, and then I can just tighten this screw again. By putting this spring back in place, as it should stay there. And the hairspring has to sit in this, there's a small notch here when the pin could go into. Now, I can loosen the shutter, I mean, not the shutter, but this slow gear, so I can find out where the correct setting is. And I would guess it could be there somewhere. And then tighten this gently. So now put the spring and the I don't know what you call the advance arm or ring. Put it back in again. And let's see how it could be. Well, the one, I mean the mainspring has to go like this, and the small hairspring here has to come off, because then I can put this the mainspring on. And hopefully not that easy, but I'm sure we'll make it. No. I mean, how they did those on the factory, that's just amazing. But let's see how it turned out to be. I think it will be okay, but just take some time. So, and one need more than 4 hands. do that kind of work. But I think we're almost there. Just to see if it's possible to advance the shutter. Something like this. Okay, little fellow. Do you mind just go on? Why will it not? It's not that easy. I'm not sure it's correct. I see. This one has to sit the opposite side. So there, and this bloody shutter arm. Have to go there. You can see, and then it should be possible to advance the shutter. I've been into that kind of shutter before, but this time it's just a little different. like it has to go on the opposite side. Just open the shutter. Okay, I would guess this spring has to sit, yeah, like do you mind, please go on, little spring. Yes. Okay, back on track again. So the escapement is a bit off. So I would guess it has to sit a bit closer. Like something there. That was a bit tricky. Okay, so let's see how it works when I put the camped ring on. Give it some movement so everything falls in place, and okay, the cam ring has to this on B. Yeah, it looks actually pretty good. So I will let it stay there for now. And the screw has to be tight. I will just give it a few drops of oil on the excellent. So it's just the sewing machine oil, so there is nothing really special. Yeah, so we are there. I know it was not the correct way of doing things, but for now I think it's okay. Someone might said, oh, just an amateur, yeah. But I have no one to ask about those old stuff. So let's see. And the 500. Yeah. And let's see how the 1 second works. A little too fast, but it's not that much. Can just give it another go. So you see, sometimes it's easy and sometimes not. It needs some sort of movement. Yeah. So it's okay. There, and the lock. So now it's just time to put things back in again. I will set the ring here to 500, the aperture to 22, which I have a mark here. So it is. The MNX has to sit on M, because this is what on the front here. And then it should be possible to just put on the front like this. And then it's just to catch the small pin for the exposure and the aperture. So it should be something like that. Okay, just show the pin for the MNX is here, and it goes into here. The exposure is that pin here, and the aperture is for that. That goes into here, and the exposure goes here. So let's see if we can catch it. Goes something like there. And maybe I have to give a, yeah. So it should be that. And the aperture, I can move it. So that's great. And the exposure, I can also move it. Can I cut the shutter? Yes. And it yeah, so everything seems to be okay. Except for the way I was fiddling with this, tinkering with this camera. But it is not always easy. But I will definitely go deeper into those shutter. I have a Rolleicord 75mm. I can work on just to be better to those old cameras. So I guess somebody can use the information in the film, which I hope, and then that way get inspired to also share those information they have, and in that way actually be better. And this the old repairmen, they will fade away slowly, and they have not the view of the open-minded view of sharing their information. Of course, they think people will steal their work. Not really, because it takes a lot of time to be very good to those things. And I don't think there's any school for that kind of repair. Just give it some cleaning so it looks nice. Funny, isn't it? When you breathe on a lens and use a good cloth, things just came off. So that was part of it. Now it's time to put it back in the camera And before I do so, I have this bloody pin, which the shutter button advance, and this small retaining nut. So now it seems to be okay. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So when putting the shutter assembly lens into the camera, I need to advance the shutter and push it all the way over. So I'm almost out of X. So by doing so, this pin will come as far as it can to catch the other pin here, this one. So let's see how it will go. Difficult with the camera on, but it will be a lot better to set the distance to near end, because then it will come out. So there. And the long washer, or whatever it calls, go onto here. And a screw. So, and put the shim in here. And another screw here. Come on. So it is, and the other side, which will be a lot easier, of course. It have a curve here, and it goes on each side of the main. The shutter and the lens, main lens. Okay. Not easy to catch on the camera because my fingers are in the way. Sorry for that. And it will be something there. So now there is another pin down here which I need to lift up. So it can engage with the front part here. and then put in the screw. So and since I have my my mark here, which I draw earlier with a dentist tool, so I know exactly where it should go. But it has to be out to near end. So one can just press and gently tighten it so it's there. So it's in the same position that before I took it apart. Now this small shiny screw has to come on with my special tool, which is really handy. So now, okay, what do I need? Something to put on, just so it will make it easier for you to see. So it goes pretty good. Not too tight. There. So, and then just zoom out a little. Now I have my tiny washer that sits over here, which I took off earlier. So, and then the frame goes on like something here. As I said in the beginning, the advance arm has to be cocked, the shutter has to be cocked to make it easier for the frame to go on. Like this. Okay, maybe it's better just doing so. Pull it over. Yeah, so much easier. And then the first screw that holds where the small washer was, just so I know where it will stay in place. So not really a good screw. I think some of those old screws are really, I mean, they're very soft and the head is not really good. So maybe they use special screwdrivers. Okay. There's not really much screw head in this screw, and many of the screws are actually this way. So how does it go? Looks fine. And the last screw. So it is. Wow, fine. Now, then it's time to just add some contact glue and put the leather on. And then we're done. This is just ordinary contact glue, so there's nothing special about that. Put it on there, and then it should fit very fine. Then I can just continue. Not using too much. So, but I will make a film later where I dig much deeper into those shutter. So, but I have to be better to work with those to show it. So. Now it actually looks like a camera again. And then the other side. It's amazing how fast contact glue actually dry out. Oh gosh. So we are there. Just a little spot here. And then put this thing on. Oh, there was something on the corner here. So, and there we go. It's really so dry, this leather, so it's not that good. So, and something like 150, yeah, and the pin, the shutter pin here, so it's actually back to life. This was a bit, yeah, what do you say, not really the correct way of doing things, but I'll be back sooner with another film. So for now, bye bye.